microwave for you or the oil, they annoy you. You add another's neck for the wrong reasons. Election years now seeming like full-blown seasons.
Join me now at 3 Count Commentaries as I discuss NWA POWERRR from October the 12th, 2021. So we start the show with Hawks Aerie defeating Sauronaro and Mims in a tag team tournament semifinal, I believe it is. This match is what it was what it was. Let's get into some of the meatier portions of the show. So the Pope just repeated himself from last week. Pope ain't gonna backstab Trevor Murdoch. Pope respects Trevor Murdoch. Pope held Trevor Murdoch's son's head so gently against his chest because I respect Trevor Murdoch. I also respect that 10 pounds of gold, daddy. It said that he wants Trevor Murdoch to enjoy his run because they've been up and down the roads together. They've hung out together. They've been friends for a long time. He says he's not going to be underhanded. He's going to do things the right way. He's going to let Trevor Murdoch know when he wants to be the world champion so he can fight him straight up. Murdoch then says that this is business, but he respects Pope and he expects Pope to come to him face to face and he will be ready. I think they're setting up Pope heel turn to become the world champion, which is, probably the right thing to do. I think Pope probably be better off as a heel anyway. I was always been impressed by Pope as a heel. He's very good. The only problem I got with him is his Dusty impression. When he starts going off on his Dusty rants, that's about the only time I'm just kind of like, Pope, will you please, will you stop? Thank you. So we have an Empower episode of Power that is upcoming at some point soon. There was a lot of storylines about that this week. So storyline 1, Chelsea Green, Kylie Rae, and Melina are going to be participating in a triple threat match for the Empower episode of NWA Power. Chelsea Green, a dancer that only knows one step, has said that she should be the women's champion while her voice was cracking because she's doing her Laurel Van Ness gimmick. Melina says she wants redemption for what Camille did to her because Camille jumped her 2 or 3 weeks ago. And Kylie Rae's thing was anybody could be number one contender or the NWA Women's Champion, even me. And the crowd seems to really, really like her. I find her to be very not interesting. I really don't. I really don't find this girl interesting. Later in the show, though, Mickie James had a segment where she was talking about the Empower episode of NWA POWERRR. And she said that she wants to give NWA credit for setting up a space for women. And it's going to be very incredible. And she's going to be the executive producer on this episode as well. Then she said she's going to have a bunch of incredible matches set up. And this led to Kiara Hogan come out there. Kiara Hogan then apologized for going off on Mickie James a couple of weeks ago, and felt that she was acting very out of character. But then she said also that, Mickie James has said some negative stuff about her match, and she took it personally because she looks up to Mickie James. And Mickie James said, look, I think the world of you. I watched you since you were 17. I think that you're really good. You're really talented. And then Kiara Hogan says, okay, so if you think so highly of me, why am I not on the show? Why am I not on the Empower show? So then Mickie James says, well, look, what do you mean? Like, I never said you wouldn't be on the show, but you deserve a big match on the show. And I was kind of trying to get that together. I was trying to make it a bigger match for you on the show. And then Kiara Hogan says, well, look, how about I wrestle you on the show? I just want to have a match with my idol. Am I not worthy enough to have a match with you? And then Mickie started getting frustrated and started saying, like, look, we could have talked about this backstage. You got my phone number. You could have sent emails. We could have did anything. You trying to embarrass me right now. And Kiara Hogan was being very sad and was like, I just wanted to have a match with you. I'm like, what is going on here? It was interesting, but I'm like, what is going on? Mickie started playing the power game and started saying, like, we need to have this conversation somewhere else, and kind of basically ordered Kiara Hogan to follow her so they could have a conversation somewhere else. And I'm just kind of like, is Mickie turning? She can't be turning heel, not after she just cried for her husband last week after he got power drive to death on chairs and stuff. They're not about to turn her heel. So clearly they're about to have Kiara Hogan turn heel, and she was just being annoying, which is fine, I find it to be very interesting. Oh, to be very, very interesting. So I'm interested in what they're doing there. So I said the word interesting way too much. In any event, Tyrus defeated Jordan Clearwater for the TV title. Well, he was already the TV champion, so he defended it. These guys, they are something else. So they're in cahoots. Jordan Clearwater wastes 3 minutes of the 6-minute TV time limit shaking hands and basically lollygagging, as the plan was to have Tyrus retain the title by countdown, by time limit draw. But at one point, Jordan Clearwater decided not to do it. I think about 3 minutes in, Jordan Clearwater started attacking Tyrus. He kicked him in the face like 3 times. Afterward, he still managed to win with the heart punch. And then he got on the microphone and told Sion, "This is what I did to a friend. I did this to my training partner. What am I going to do to you?" Which is essentially the long and the short of it. I have zero interest in Tyrus. He is a human walrus. I have zero interest in Tyrus. I do have a tremendous amount of interest in Thom, Latimer, and Camille. I'll talk about them last because I'm so interested in what they got going on. Let's talk about James Thorne first. So James Thorne basically came out there and said that he's been in the business 23 years. And he knows that family is the most important thing. He sacrificed a lot for his family, sacrificed opportunities for his family. But he says that the people on the other side of the guardrail are family too. And this is the best job in the world because he gets to kick ass, drink beer, and do it all in his underwear. And he's never going to stay down until he becomes national champion. It all felt like a pick-me-up after the Thom Latimer promo. That was really the only purpose of this, I think, is we had to get a babyface out there to say something babyface-ish. So because Thom Latimer just went nuts. But we'll get there. The End defeated Kratos and Aaron Stevens, who eliminated them from the tournament. Odinson rolled up Stevens. So Kratos loses. This ought to be interesting. He was very frustrated with Stevens too, because now they're out of the tournament. They can't be the tag team champions anymore. And Kratos, who has sworn a vow to hang around with Aaron Stevens until he brought out the killer instinct, that's being put to the test because they didn't win. So now technically they can't be the tag team champions anymore. Is Kratos going to keep his word? That's a good question. That's a good hook. The match itself was fine too. All right, so Thom Latimer, with his 8 different reasons why he did what he did to Nick Aldis. All right, so he started the promo. For starters, let's talk about Camille. Camille was especially tanned and shiny this week. She looked like an Emmy, and she's very beautiful. I'll give her credit for that, for being very bronzed. And I said an Emmy, I meant an Oscar. She looks like an Oscar because she was very, very bronzed and glistening. In any event, Thom Latimer cut this promo, and it was great. It was great, but it was rambling. You could tell he didn't put that much thought into it, but he also put a lot of thought into it. So part 1 in the promo was him talking about their similarities. They grew up together. They were best friends, training partners. They did everything together. And then part 2 was that Nick Aldis is pompous and had always been taken care of. Nick Aldis always made more money than him. When Nick Aldis was making 30 pounds a night, he was making 25. When Nick Aldis got to go over to the United States, he got to train with Harley Race. He got the big opportunity in TNA. Thom Latimer didn't get that. And then he starts talking about, you got the opportunity to be the world champion, to live in mansions and get the big bucks. And look at me. I got arrested. I got divorced. It's funny, but it's real life. right? Like, he's really, it's a bitter best friend. So it's real life stuff that, that the grass is always greener on the other side. It's very human. This is why it always works. The best friend turns on you, always works. The student turning on the teacher, that stuff. Teacher's turning on the student. Whenever you solidify a relationship and then you break that relationship, it always works. Every single time. You think it doesn't? Go back to the old WWF days. Almost all of Hogan's biggest drawing feuds were not Hogan versus monsters. It was Hogan versus his former best friend. Hogan versus Paul Orndorff. Why? Paul Orndorff was a Hulkamaniac, brother. And then decided he wasn't a Hulkamaniac anymore. Hogan versus Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant was always on Hulk Hogan's side, brother. You always were about the power of Hulkamania until you weren't. The mega powers exploding. Again and again, Hogan had tropes. This shit works. It works here too. Because I don't know how much of this stuff is kayfabe and what's not. I don't know whether they really grew up together. But I do know that, when Thom Latimer says that I deserve the mansions, the free watches, the free suits, I believe that he thinks that. I believe it when he said, you used me. You used me to get all these things that you've got. You used me to get it. I was the best man at your wedding. I believe it when he said that. I believe it when he said that you got weak and you lost your edge. That's why you lost the title. Because you got weak and you lost your edge. I believe that he believes that. When he said that he should look into his son's eyes and apologize for being a failure, a loser, and for, Uncle Thom not wanting to be his friend anymore, that he needs to apologize to his son for all of that. I believe that he believes that too. That's the most important thing, no matter how ridiculous it is. And it is in some ways ridiculous, but it's very human. It is probably one of the most human promos I've heard in a really long time. And again, I don't know how much of it is true or not. But Camille stood there. She didn't say anything. She was kind of, nudging him along. Her lips were moving, so maybe she was whispering stuff to him. But it's a pure storyline it's about jealousy. Thom Latimer is jealous. And he's like, Nick Aldis has wasted every opportunity that I never had. That's brilliant. That's good stuff, man. That's good pro wrestling stuff. They do good stuff in NWA. When they, sometimes the matches ain't worth shit. But some of the angles are really good. The Mickie James, Kiara Hogan thing has potential. I want to figure out who's the babyface and who's the heel. I thought Kiara Hogan was the heel. But then near the end, when Mickie is playing power games, I'm like, wait a minute. Is she the heel? Because she's talking about, we could have talked about this over the phone. Like, wait a minute. No, they couldn't. She want to talk about it right now, though. Why can't she talk about it right now? What's wrong with right now? At the Thom Latimer, Nick Aldis thing is going to be very good. And the Kratos and Aaron Stevens thing, man, where Kratos has, for the last 2 weeks, he has, sworn that he's going to stay by Aaron Stevens' side. Now he doesn't have to. They lost the tag team championship and they lost out of the tournament. He doesn't have to be his tag team partner anymore if he doesn't want to be. So now the drama is there that I want to know if it's going to happen. And I'm interested in that. That's all it takes, man. It doesn't, not rocket science and not open heart surgery. It's just pro wrestling. Just tell simple stories. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, donate to the channel. Thank you guys for your time, and I'll talk to you guys later.